Hey, welcome back to Beard's Quiz. On this channel, we do math tutorials as well as simplifying education technologies using the iPad. In today's session, I'm going to show you the power of Excel and how we can import data automatically. Let's open up Excel. You can see that we start off with all the templates that are available on the desktop version. What we're going to do is we're going to start a new template. And I'm going to show you the power of using data import, but we're going to automate the whole process of data entry, okay? Now, if you're using Excel, you're probably doing some statistics, some data analysis, maybe tables and forms, and I'm going to show you the power of how we can import data. So check this out. I'm going to insert here. And I'm going to insert data from a picture. When I heard about this feature, importing data from a picture, I was quite skeptical. I thought it ain't going to work like that. It's going to be temperamental, but it's fantastic. I'm going to show you exactly how this works. So we're going to import data from a picture. And you can also actually take import data from your camera roll. So if you've got a textbook and you're putting your camera on top of it, I'm going to take it from my library. So I'm going to come over here and I've taken a picture already. We're going to look at something very simple, okay? So we're going to look at data from a table here. And it says, describe the data. We've got very simple data here. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to drag this over because I just want it to focus on the data. And what it's going to start doing, the algorithm is going to start processing what we have here. Okay. So the stall type, the food, and then the number of stalls here. So let's insert this data. I'm going to ignore the reviews. There's something that it wants me to review. I'm going to ignore anyway and import the data. So look at this. I've got my data table here. Without entering anything manually, I've got information from a picture. What can I do with this? I've connected an external keyboard, a Bluetooth keyboard. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold down the Shift and Control, and you can see that it auto selects the information that I need. And then if I go to Insert Table, so I'll go over here and I'll say Insert Table, it's going to format the table automatically. Look at this. And then I can go to Table Styles and I can choose a different style if I want. Let's go ahead and choose an orange table here. I like that formatting. However, what I do want to do is I do want to go back to home and I want the border. I want all border here. What do I need to do with this table? What do I want to find? Maybe I want to find something basic like the total count of the table. I also want to find out the minimum value, the maximum value. Maybe I want to find the average number of stalls for that type of data, whether it's food, art, craft, or clothing. So let's just write this down. These are I want to do the count, enter, and then I want to find maybe the minimum, maybe the max, and maybe the average number of stalls. Of course, one of the main features of Excel is using formulae. And what I can do here from the Home tab, I can go to this formula button, and there are some autocomplete sums that I can do here. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to do the number count, and it selects the fields that I want. Of course, there's nothing in these two fields. So I'm going to go up here and select these cells and press enter. So it says that there's 4 items there that I've got. Minimum, let's find out the minimum. So let's go to sum again. We want the minimum. Minimum of what? From here, going down to there. It gives me a minimum. The minimum value is 4. Let's do the maximum. So here we'll go to max. And we'll enter that. Average, we can also do an average here. So again, quickly, we can do an average. Average of all the numbers that I have, sorry. It gives me an average of 5.75. So there are an average of 5.75 stalls. For this particular data type, there can't be a decimal. You can't have 5.75 stalls. So what I want to do is I want to make that as a whole number. So if I go to the ABC, the formatting for the cell, I can decrease the number of decimals. Okay, and that's going to give me an average of 6 stalls for this particular data. So impressive nonetheless. That data was quite simple. Let's see if we can use more complex data. So let's go data from a picture again. And we'll try to use group data this time around. Okay, so let's go over here. And here we're going to grab this. So what is this? I'll show you the actual full picture. It says the daily temperatures. The daily maximum temperatures for Manila over a 1-year period is given below. And what we need to do is we need to estimate, we need to find an estimate of the mean, okay? The mean of the maximum temperature. So let's go ahead and select the data that we need. We certainly don't need that picture. And we'll press on done. It's going to start processing. Very, very quickly, it's going to process that data and import it into a table. I'm happy with all of that data. We can review the data. So if you press review here, you can look at each individual part and you can start addressing, you can start reviewing that data. I'm just going to ignore everything here. I'm going to say ignore. and we've entered that data. Now, again, I can click on this cell and I can do the auto width. Okay, that completes auto width. And here it says maximum temperature T, which is fine. And then it says bracket, and then it's got 0. And I don't want that 0C. I want a subscript or superscript 0 days for degrees. This is referring to a previous video that I've done on Psyche, which is a scientific calculator. I'm just going to go and long press on this button, and I've got this Psyche keyboard here. If you press the globe button here, it's from here, yeah, Psyche. You can refer to the other video that I've made about Psyche, how to install that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly go to my superscript, and I can insert here the 0, the degree sign. In fact, let me just get rid of this keyboard. There you go. So maximum temperature is in degrees Celsius now. I've got the Fahrenheit. One thing though is I don't want to have this. It says 24. It doesn't make any sense to me. As a mathematician, it doesn't make sense because it says greater than 24, but less than 26, and then greater than 26. This should be greater or equal to. So where do I get that symbol from? What you can do is, if I go to the home button, in fact, if you go to insert and you scroll all the way down here, you've got add-ons. And from add-ons, I want to see what add-ons I have available. See my add-ons. Okay. In fact, you go see in all add-ons to see if there's something that you can add from here that's useful to you. Maybe a chemistry, look, people graphs, my education add-ons. I'm just going to go to my ones. I've got symbols here. So I'm going to open up the symbols add-on, and I want to bring that greater or equal to. So I'm going to go to math, and I just want to, actually, I don't want to insert it there. I'll just put it next to it. Here, this symbol here. So I'm going to insert that symbol. Now that I'm done with that, I can delete the add-on. Now, what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to double click on this. Okay. I want to copy this sign, and then I want to edit this entry here. Okay. So I'm just going to highlight that, and I'm going to paste the sign that I want. I'm going to press enter on the keyboard. That brings me to the second cell. And then again, I can just do the same thing. Copy and paste, enter, again, copy and paste, enter. Look, this is quite simple, isn't it? Enter, copy and paste, enter. Okay, copy and paste, and that's the final one, enter. Now you can see that this makes far more sense mathematically. 24 equal or greater than 24, but less than 26, equal greater than 26. Less. So anyway, that was just a little qualm that I wanted to fix there. But you can see that there's add-ons on Excel that you can add, maybe formulae, you can add on special characters. There's a chemistry one, there's a graphs one. There's many add-ons you can go and explore. I've got this data now. What do I want to do with it? The mathematical inquiry for this particular data was to find the arithmetic mean, okay, the mean of this data. Now, because this is group data, I need to find a mid-class interval. What I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this and Control Shift, highlight all of that data. I'm going to cut it, Control C, and then Control V. I'm going to paste it away. And in this middle sentence, I'm going to write a midpoint. I want to bring a midpoint for this class interval. Now, what is midpoint? Midpoint is using the median. I want to find the middle of these two values. So if I go to formulas here, and I go to stats, and then I want to find M, the median. Where's the median? Here we go, the median. I'm going to insert the median. And what two numbers do I want to find the middle of? I want to find the middle of 24 and 26. So I can write here 24. And my second number, I can edit this. Let's just manually do it, comma, 26, enter, and it gives me my median value. Now, if I control copy and I paste that for all of these cells, okay, and then I press escape there. Now I can click on this and I can change these values manually. Okay, it's very simple. So I'm going to do 26 to 28, and then finally double click on the trackpad. I've got 34 to 36. Now you might be thinking, what are you doing, man? Why are you doing all of this FX, midpoint? It doesn't really matter. The example doesn't matter. But what you can see is the power of the application of Excel on the iPad. So very quickly, I'm going to add a final formula here. I'm going to do equals sum, and I just want to do my midpoint multiplied by the frequency and enter. And then I can copy this and I can paste it. It pastes this formula with absolute cell reference. So it's changing it, it's dynamic. It's changing it for this particular, if I double click that, you can see that it's highlighted these two cells that I in fact use this formula. Okay, let's come out of that. So what do I want to do? I want to find out the sum of this. Again, I'm just going to go home and I'm going to use this autocomplete formula here, and I'm just going to do the sum, enter, and then the sum of the frequencies. Again, I can press on sigma, the sum of the frequencies, enter, and I want to call this cell total. Now look, with the keyboard, I'm just going to control and shift, and I'm going to make that bold. And also I think I want to give it a thick border like that. I can even fill in, okay, start formatting this. Maybe I want to fill it in with a light blue. Okay, there you go. How do I find out the mean? Right, you might not be particularly interested in this, but for me to find out the mean max, okay, or the mean here, I'm going to be doing sum, okay, this value divided by the total frequencies, enter, and that gives me the mean. What does that mean represent? That's the mean temperature in Manila throughout the whole year, okay? So again, I'm going to highlight this because this is my key finding. I'm going to do that in a highlight in yellow. I'm going to do a thick border around it, and I'm going to make it bold. There's a lot that I've just completed. One thing I haven't done is graphs. Can I make a graph from this? So let's start off with this basic one here, yeah? Let's make a graph for this. If I highlight the data and I go to insert, I can do a recommended graph. It will bring a graph, okay, a recommended graph from the data that I have, okay? So it's intelligently selecting what graph would fit this data. And that's really good anyway. Food, art, crafts, clothing. I can change this. I can edit all of this data. I can call it stall types. And then I can add information from this for this graph as well. So I can go here to elements, and I can add, for example, the axis titles. Maybe I want to add a primary horizontal title. This is going to be stall type of stall. And then I can go back to elements and add my vertical primary. This is just going to be frequency, freak. Let's just complete that and write frequency. What else can I do? I can change the colors as well. I can change the colors. You can do really what you want with these elements. It's quite similar to the desktop version to implement, to really manipulate the formatting as you like. I like that. I can also change the type. So I can go here and do a pie chart. Okay. Let's say we go with that pie chart there. We can add more elements to here. So for example, we can add inside the data. We can start manipulating this to add information to it as well. Yeah. What else can we do? We can do a lot with Excel. In fact, I'm not saying replace your desktop with Excel, but Excel on the iPad works really, really well. It's quite robust. Features with the keyboard and the trackpad work really well. Let's add one more chart just to see what we can do here. I'm going to take the midpoint and the frequency for the second example, and then I'm going to insert a recommended chart. I'm going to take a line graph. I don't want scatter. I want a line graph. Here's my line graph. And then what I can do with this, I can try to find a trend as well. So if I go to elements and I go to trend lines, you can do a line forecast, a linear forecast to see the trend here. Now that doesn't perhaps is not relevant for this particular example, but you can add trend lines here. Of course, you can format the graph, the chart as you like. You can insert legends, grids, data tables. You can add your titles. There's a lot that you can format exactly as you can do on the desktop version. You can do here on the iPad as well. A great feature with the iPad and Apple Pencil is that you can do drawing input. Okay, you can do touch input. So I'm just going to move this graph out of the way. And since I've done this table and I've looked at the data, I want to verify that this is correct. So maybe I will just type here accounts. So account manager signature. Okay. And I'm going to sign off here to say that I've verified this account. And then someone else can check it over and say, oh, look, someone's verified it. It's got the account manager signature there. It should be perfectly fine. You can see from that small demonstration that Excel is very robust on the iPad. In fact, it's very akin to the desktop version with some added benefits like data entry from a picture and the drawing features. If you found that video helpful, please give me a like. If you have any questions regarding Excel on the iPad, please write in the comment section below and subscribe and turn on notifications. It does help the algorithm to push the videos forward. And as always, I'll see you in the next one.